Hey guys, I'm Dr. Dawson, and today I'd like us to try to clear up some of the confusion that exists around the difference between vomiting and spitting up. Both moms and medical personnel have trouble with this, and so hopefully we can clear up how they're different and how you can tell them apart. So vomiting is the forceful emptying of your stomach contents in response to something bad. Not necessarily really bad, but maybe a stomach bug, but it could be as a result of a concussion or an exposure to poison, or appendicitis. So something that we probably want to keep an eye on. The second is spitting up or reflux. And that's the more mechanical emptying of your stomach contents, mainly just because a little round muscle that holds stuff in your stomach is loose for the first 9 months. And that can be fine in terms of for babies, in terms of letting all the air out when for a big burp. But that little muscle has trouble telling the difference between air and fluid. And sometimes it just lets all the contents out, not just the air in the burp. So it can be normal, but let's think about how to tell the difference. So folks are always telling me, what the vomit looked like. Was it curdled? Was it not curdled? How much of it there was, how forcefully it came out, and all those kind of things. As a point of reference, whether the milk is curdled or not really doesn't make that much difference. If the milk has been in your stomach for less than 20 minutes, it won't be curdled. If it's been in contact with the stomach acids in your tummy for over 20 minutes, then it'll be curdled. That doesn't really matter. And in terms of, people all heard folks mention like projectile vomiting, and how that can be associated with either a blockage or perhaps trauma in the head. Projectile vomiting is not particularly common. And we're talking about vomit that goes like 5 feet. So not particularly common, not really what we're talking about here today. What we're talking about today is how to tell the difference. And all those things that people describe, what it looks like, what it smells like, those do not matter at all. What matters is how your child looks during the process. If you had a roommate in college, that is what vomiting looks like. They looked bad before, during, and afterwards. They were pale, they were sweaty, they looked bad. That's what vomiting looks like. Conversely, if your child is sitting there and they're drinking milk and they're happy as a clam, and then all of a sudden they just gush out, perhaps a fairly large and forceful amount of milk and stomach contents, and then 10 seconds later they're happy as a clam and they would actually drink more milk if you offered it to them, that's spitting. And so you can tell the difference. They look like your roommate that in college, that's vomiting. If they look happy as a clam and ready to eat again, that's the mechanical emptying of the stomach because of a weak muscle, and that's spitting. So if you determine that your child is vomiting, then we want to keep an eye on them. If they develop some diarrhea in the next 6 to 12 hours, then that means they had the most common cause of vomiting, which is a little stomach bug. Or if they have had some recent head trauma or an exposure to a poison, or they have prolonged vomiting going on, for longer than 12 to 24 hours, or if they have, pain and sustained over that period of time, those are things you're going to need to evaluate, with your doctor. On the other hand, if you determine that it's just spitting, and you have a child that's less than 9 months old, and number one, they're gaining weight. Number two, they're not getting recurrent pneumonias. And number three, they're not having severe pain associated with these episodes of reflux. Then you can just wear cotton clothes and wait for your child to get to be 9 months old. And I probably wouldn't get the carpets cleaned until they're a year old. So those are the differences in vomiting and spitting and how you can tell them apart. And I hope that will help.